Shove something down your throat.
Weird.
Eye.
Eye.
So what, like a pirate eye? Is that what you're saying?
Like a pirate eye.
But not said it
Like
like that.
A-Y-E.
Like, oh. Eye.
No, just eye.
Okay, fine. I haven't got any drink either. Shit. Okay.
Dude, I'm topped up.
I had a
Fucked up.
shaving incident earlier, and now I've had to trim my beard back to like near skin.
Shaving
And
incident.
now I look like a baby. And it's all
No, you look
patchy.
alright. I honestly didn't even notice until you
I'm
said it.
embracing the patchiness though. You probably can see like just how look how fucking like you can see that bit stronger, that bit isn't stronger, but
I was going to say your patch is a lot worse than my patchy. I've only got one patch, and it's right here.
what of no
Just this
growth
patch.
or what?
No, I've just a lot less. I feel like the right side of my face, actually, same as yours. Yeah, the right side of my face is slightly patchier.
Well, yeah, it's not usually too patchy, but I'm gonna embrace the foreign patchy look. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? No.
Okay.
You know, like Italian, Spanish, French patchy, even English patchy.
Yeah.
I've seen patchy men who look better than if they had a solid beard, in my personal
It
opinion.
almost sounds like you're saying Apache, and I just keep thinking you're talking about
Helicopters.
Native Americans.
Oh. I was thinking Apache helicopters.
Yeah, there's Apache helicopter and also the Apache tribe of the Native Americans.
Oh, fine. Okay. Great. He's not wearing a top again. That's great.
Look at the tan lines, though. Look at that.
What's that from work?
I sit outside with my arms out when it's really sunny.
You sit outside?
Look at the tan line, look.
You told me you don't sit outside.
I've sat outside for 2 years in a row.
How are you finding it?
When it gets cold, we sit on the inside, but
like you do as humans.
We sit outside when it's warm.
Yeah. Fine.
So what's the point, you know?
Okay.
It's nice.
Fine.
I get fresh air. Well, that's the thing. I kind of have to have fresh air at my work because I'm breathing in dust all day.
Oh, fucking hell, dude. I'm talking about when you're at home, bro.
What about when
You're talking about when you're at work.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when you're at home.
What about when I'm
You don't sit outside at home.
No, I'm in pitch black in my room. Like a
right,
vampire.
fine. I'm glad we clarified that.
Like every good gamer does.
All right, you play mobile games. Let's calm it down.
You also, look, I don't wear clothes.
Yeah, like, I know.
When I'm at home, home is a clothes-free zone.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not. There is no clothes-free zone.
I even if I have to like go and put the bins out or something, I'll be outside in my underwear.
Nope.
Who cares?
No.
Who cares?
We're not doing this. We're not doing this.
I don't care. I'm happy with what I've
I'm
got.
glad you're happy. You make me very unhappy by doing what you do. Not like that. Not that sounded really harsh. Just more a case of wear clothes and don't own any flip-flops. Flip-flops need to be burned.
That's funny. When I was off for a week, I genuinely didn't get dressed once.
No, dude, no.
I just put on a different pair of underwear.
It's a barrier. It's a barrier of your skin to the stuff. You know, like I've got all this seat.
But it was warm.
Stick
I didn't want to get too hot.
Oh, no. Just open the window.
I don't sweat that much.
Okay. Well, I do.
I really don't. Like, I barely sweat now.
Okay.
As I've gotten older.
Do you sweat less because you're more in shape, you reckon?
Yeah, a lot less body fat, so that helps.
Yeah, okay. I'll work on that.
Just less insulated.
Get the padding on.
The hair helps.
Okay. Jay, this is actually quite a big episode for us. I know we haven't recorded in a few weeks, but believe it or not, everything is on track and on schedule at the moment. We've just had housekeeping. We've just had the God of War Ragnarok special go live. So feel free to listen to that. If you haven't already, everyone who's listening, I imagine if you like to listen to this, you will definitely want to listen to that. It's got a lot of opinions. Good, bad, ugly. Moving on from that, it's been some weeks since we recorded. Why is that, Dudley? Right, you are, Harry. Because Starfield came out. So
36, but last year I had 37.
Some of them got to be bigger than last year. I don't care how big they are. Right, so Starfield came out, Jay. A little
It
indie
did.
game made by Bethesda Game Studios, their first single player game since Fallout 4, which came out in 2015. A nigh on 8 years since the
Yes.
last single player game. One of my favorite game studio developers ever. Obviously, you've been very, very, very excited for this game as well. Jay, for this
Mm.
discussion, we're going to do, I've just decided on the spot, we're going to do a special for this game, which will be full spoilers, diving deep into the crevices of space. For this particular
Aye.
discussion, I know you've got a lot you want to talk about. I respect that.
Well, yes, yes.
I would like to, if we can, just keep it broad, spoiler free.
Obviously, yeah.
I'm not crazy about gameplay mechanics and stuff like that unless you really, 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 really want to. Um, I'm personally just going to talk about more how it makes me feel like a
I'm
snowflake.
just going to talk about a mixture of that and where I'm at with it and
Okay,
everything. Just how I feel. How I feel is a good way
sure.
of putting it.
Well, Jake, mine's going to be a lot shorter.
I think you'll be surprised.
Okay, right. Okay.
I hope you'll be surprised.
Mine's going to be a lot shorter than you. So if it's all right with you, Jay, I'll say my brief
Yeah, go on
piece.
then.
And then yeah. So where am I at with Starfield? So to Jay's frustration, no doubt, I've done 4 story missions. I am approximately 65, 70 hours into the game.
Yeah.
I am taking my time with it. I'm doing side quests. I am exploring worlds. I'm doing a lot of scanning. And I'm really just discovering the game and letting myself do that at my own pace completely and utterly. I'm not really feeling any pressure of doing other bits right now. I can see myself playing this probably until Christmas. In terms of how do I feel about it, um, I think for me, Jay, this boils down to what do you want from a game? And we want various different things depending on the game. What did I want from Starfield? I wanted a Bethesda game which is addictive, which looks and plays better than the previous games, with better things, right? Voice acting, story, blah blah blah, characters, whatever, better. And I want, oh, that's going red. Maybe I should turn this down. Um, all that better, and a game that I want to play ultimately. For me, this ticks all those boxes so far. In my experience, it's too early to gauge it against other stuff right now, right?
Yeah. Give it like a year.
Exactly. But right now, for where I'm at, I'm
Right
very
now.
positive about it, and I'm still in the midst of playing it. And as I tell you, Jay, I'm barely scratching the surface right now, despite the length.
To
So
be
yeah,
honest, I'm probably in a similar place you are,
okay,
than kind of,
okay,
but I'm a lot further along, but in a similar place. Just a quick question:
please.
how many faction missions have you done? Do you reckon?
Would you class
Have you?
the being part of like the Vanguard as a faction?
Yes, that is one faction. The US,
You see,
the
Vanguard,
UC, yeah,
two.
the UC Vanguard. So you've just done two regular missions, not you haven't like done the whole arc of missions that there are.
No,
Okay, so you haven't finished any faction whole quest
no.
lines. Okay, maybe I am a bit further than you then. Okay, fine.
That was my piece. I'm done. So please, yep,
Yeah.
I'm all good. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Jay.
Um.
Sorry. Really quickly.
Yeah. Go on.
Um,
Go on.
would recommend. I personally definitely think that like anyone who likes single player RPGs should go out and play this game. It's a different vibe. It's a different feel. It's a slower burner, in my opinion. It's not going to be
Oh,
like
hell
a
of a
hit
lot. Yeah.
action, fast go run. Fucking. It's more. It's space, and I think it reflects that. And like a lot of people have said online, the more you put in, the more you get out of it. In my opinion. Sorry, Jay. Please continue.
I honestly don't really know how to articulate most of this. I'd probably go into like I'd probably find it easier to go into depth when I know there's no barriers necessarily. But I was actually more curious if you had any questions for me that I could just answer, so I know exactly where the limit is. Because I don't really want to say too much and I don't want to say too little as well.
Okay. Do you know how many
I
hours
was
you've
just
put in
curious
the
about if
game?
there's. Yeah, so you've put in, what do you say, about 70,
Yes,
65, 70?
sir. Yeah.
So I think you've put in almost 3 days from what I've checked on the
Yeah.
stats. I think you've put in 2 days and like 16 hours or
Okay.
something.
Yeah.
I think I've put in about 3 days,
I
16
think you've put in
hours.
4 when I last looked.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Maybe even yeah. I could probably double check. Yeah, probably there. So what is that like?
100 and a bit. 100 and a
48.
bit.
Yeah, I've put somewhere near 100 hours in. Um, you're level 28, aren't you? From what I saw,
That
28,
sounds right.
29.
Yeah. 28, 20. Yeah. Yeah.
Have a guess what level I am.
Oh, here we go. 83.
Close. Bit more up.
96.
Closer.
102.
102 on the dot.
Ah, not
Yes,
bad.
I'm
Not bad.
102. I think I have like 45 out of 50 achievements as well. I've only got to get 5 more.
If I'm honest, Jay, I actually thought you might have had them all. I haven't checked, but I thought you might have had them all.
Well, if I'd been playing it every day since it came out, I definitely have them all by now. But yeah, the last 5 are just sort of like really not. They're not difficult, but they're not easy. They require a bit of attention.
Okay.
One of them would probably take me about 2 to 5 hours. Another 2 to 5 hours. Another 2. Yeah, I mean, we're talking like at least another 20 hours just to get the last 5. Probably.
Right. Okay.
It's just going to take a while. That's just one of those things where I'm playing something else, so I thought I'll just leave it for a
Okay.
bit. Yeah, but the way I got to level 100 wasn't the conventional way. It was quite a bit of a cheese way,
Oh,
as it were.
Christ's sake. Okay. Right.
Because I was getting a bit fed up with like having to like get through the skill tree. Because I worked out like a calculator thing. You can work out like skill tree calculators. I think to unlock every single perk to max rank, I think you have to be like level 342,
So there's no level cap for
something
the
like
game
that.
then?
Technically, no, but you can go over 342 and you'll just run out of
Sure.
things to put into your skill tree.
I didn't.
But there is no. Yeah, I think it's 999. I think.
Well, I didn't
probably
even
the cap.
know that you could go over 100. To be fair, so that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that you can keep going. But anyway, so you
Do you want to know how I achieved
sure?
it? Okay. So,
Well, I'm a bit disappointed you did,
in
but it's okay. Go on.
well, it's fair. It's not like it's quite interesting how you get there. So, in part of the science part of the skill tree, you can unlock like zoology. I
Yeah, I've
think is
got
one of the
that.
ones that
Yeah.
helps you with So if you have the first rank with zoology, you can build a something at an outpost on a planet called animal husbandry, or it's like hut or something. And if you go to a very specific planet and put a circle of those around in an area, and then a couple 100 meters away put another circle of those around in an area, all these non-violent creatures will just keep spawning until you move away and their bodies, despawn and you can come back again. So if you keep going round and round and round, I think you get about 150 XP per kill. So you could probably rack
Per
up, I don't know,
kill.
per kill 150. So if this is at like this is in like a level 70 area, so you're constantly getting max level
Right.
kills. So if you just go round and round and round and round, you're probably looking at 10k in about 10 minutes. Probably,
So
if not
were you
less.
about level 70 when you started doing it then?
66, I
Okay.
think. When I
So
started
0 to
doing it.
66, you're kind of going along normal path, and then 60 to 100 is.
Well, actually, I think it was 0 to 44 was normal, and then 44 to 66 was like there's a different way of getting XP, and then I figured out there was one where you could get even more XP, so I moved on to
Got
that
you.
instead.
Okay. That is
That was
interesting.
the thing. Yeah.
So I guess following on from that, what was the reason you? Well, it's a bit personal, but what was the reason you felt the need to cheese? I suppose in terms of the game, was the game dragging a bit too much for you?
I think I've actually gotten to the point where I've just sort of like not really in the mood to play it much
Okay.
anymore. So I kind of just wanted. I actually, well, there's one thing I can't say until we do the spoiler one, but I spent about 8 hours doing one thing just to see how it was, which I can't talk about yet, which I'll come back to. And then after I sort of done everything, I was like, well, I kind of just want to get that level 100 achievement, so I'll go and do that now, essentially.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about it later.
Okay.
I can just sort of come back whenever.
Can I ask you something, Jay? And this is going to be a really hard question for you to answer. So I am.
Go on then.
Imagine how early I am in the story. Like I am so effing early in the story. You
No, I
have.
know exactly where you are.
Um.
Yeah.
I get.
It's kind of like surprised me that it's taken you almost 70 hours to where I got to in like 12.
So
It's
what I
kind of
probably
like,
haven't
well, Nick must have been doing loads of other stuff.
emphasized is I'm dirt rich because I've got
Oh,
I've
really?
got 300,000 credits.
Yeah,
That's not rich.
not to
Right.
me.
Okay. All right. All right.
But yes, that is a lot for where you are, I
I think it
suppose.
is.
Do you know what's funny? You'll hit 1 million pretty quick.
Sure. Okay. All right.
A lot quicker than you think.
So
As long as you're not spending it on dumb shit. I recommend only ever spend money on ammo
oh my god, dude. I'm
because you're gonna need a lot of it.
okay.
Trust me.
Well, the uh, how best to describe this? I like figuring
Please.
out the Bethesda game. We both know there's
Mm,
systems like ammo, and there's valuable things you should pick up and valuable things you shouldn't pick up, and all these different intricacies. I like figuring out, oh, okay, so I should pick them up, I shouldn't pick them up, I'll leave them, that's rare, that's not rare,
yeah,
all that kind of bullshit, right? For instance, a very basic example. Aluminium, if you want to build an outpost, you need aluminium. That's the sort of thing you won't know
a
until you
lot of
kind
it.
of play the game. And I like figuring all that shit
Hmm.
out. So, for instance, I've got my outpost all built up. I've got every workbench in it, blah, 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 blah. I've set up cargo links. I've done all that bullshit.
You need to teach me about that because I haven't done the cargo link thing yet.
And if I may say so, Jay, that probably took up way more time than it should.
I was gonna
So,
say I had to do something similar to that to get this XP thing going, and man, yeah, that took me like 4 to 6 hours just
it
doing
is a
that.
lot. And all I'm trying
Yeah.
to say is that my donation to figuring out these systems takes a lot of time, is all I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah. It's funny how long things do take in this
Yeah.
game. Like you'll be doing something, and then you'll be like, "Oh crap!" Like 5 6 hours just went by, and I haven't done it
Yeah,
yet.
that is true.
I've just been walking around. Like I genuinely think, I think for the first 12-ish hours, I didn't leave New Atlantis.
Right. Neither did
Like
I. Neither did
genuinely.
I.
I think for the first 2 or 3, I was just walking around, like just literally talking to every possible
Should we
named
cut that out? Is
NPC
that too
to see
spoilery?
what.
Is that too spoilery?
No, of course it isn't. Of course, we're talking about the beginning of the game
I
here.
know, but I don't want to tell people what the beginning of the game is, you know? I'll take it down on the fucking time.
That's
Anyway,
fine.
carry
That's
on.
100% fine. But yeah, I was just, it surprised me because I heard people talk about that in like previews, and I was like, "There's no way you just walked around for that long." But nope, I did exactly the same thing.
Oh,
Just
dude.
talking to everybody, seeing what missions were available. I just want to do them all.
And that's exactly how I'm approaching this game, Jay. Like you say,
Yeah,
I must have been in that fucking city for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours.
yeah. I will say that does get old pretty quick. Like after about 30 40 hours, that started to get a bit old. Of like, I just want to continue with the missions now. I don't want to keep walking around everywhere and trying to find everything.
And
I can. There's always time for me to come back. There's literally too much to do.
sure.
So,
So anyway, so going back to your playthrough, Jay. So
oh,
um
please.
so you gone through the cheeses, you're kind of explaining obviously how your motivation went for the game and how you're feeling about it now. Um
Hmm.
I guess let's just take a step backwards here. What do you like the game? Do you hate the game? Do you love it? Do you
Do you know what's funny? I'm kind of mixed, but like it's way above average. Like there's definitely I think I kind of expected there to be more handcrafted stuff. If I'm honest,
Hmm,
I felt like I got through the main missions and the faction stuff very quickly.
okay.
And then as soon as I did that, I was like, what do I do now?
Can I ask you a quick question?
Go on.
I'm not going to judge you for about 5 seconds.
Go
Do
on.
you skip dialogue?
No.
Swear on your life,
Didn't
you're
skip
not skipping
anything.
dialogue.
Nope.
Okay, all right, all right.
So I think, you know what it is? I think I was thinking a second ago, I was like, man, my efficiency in games can kind of ruin it sometimes. Like how good I am at figuring out what to do next and like doing it efficiently without even like Like I went through a whole quest line of a faction in an afternoon, being like, how did I just do all that? Like without any prep, I just did it. I just went
I
straight
think
through.
it's cool, but I also wonder, Jay. It's up to you and how you play, but
It was almost
are
like a
you
focus kind of mentality thing, you
sure?
know.
But
It was so
are you
zoomed in.
smelling the roses along the way? Is the question.
Yeah. I mean, I was messaging you. I was like, how? I literally was messaging you. How can these missions keep surprising me?
Mm,
Like it was literally like blindside, blindside, blindside. Like everything. Like the next bit of dialogue just blew my brain. I was
mm,
like, oh my god, how do they come up with this stuff? Like you can see the inspiration. It just kind of like blew me away. Like the entire time, I was absolutely loving
mm,
it. But I kind of felt like I wanted there to be at least twice as much.
mm.
Like in my mind, Skyrim and Fallout, there's just so much handcrafted stuff, but this there feels like there's a lot less.
On that,
And I don't
mm,
know if that's maybe just because I've managed to like more efficiently get through it this time. I don't know. It almost felt like Starfield allows you. It's a lot more accessible in how it gives you the missions, like the main handcrafted stuff. Whereas Fallout and Skyrim, it almost feels like you have to. It's a lot harder to get there, which is a kind of weird thing to say. It's all you know. I think a lot of people are saying that Starfield more resembles what's the one before Morrowind?
Hammerfell,
Daggerfall.
Daggerfall. Yeah, that's the one.
Apparently, Starfield is sort of more Daggerfall in terms of its inspiration and how it plays. But I don't really know much about that, so that's probably why I think Starfield feels the most different to anything they've done recently. Like it's just very very different, but not in a bad way.
Yeah,
I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot more than what IGN probably were.
right. Just before I respond to what you said, Jay, I think it's
Mm,
important that we just mark down here that everyone can have their own thoughts, their opinions, their concerns, their
true.
comments.
There were bits of what IGN said where I was like, "Oh, that's true." Like I can see why you would think that, and there's definitely a lot wrong with Starfield. But there's the same thing you can say the same thing about Fallout 4, about Fallout 3, about Skyrim. Like they're all got something wrong with them. But I think it's more of a like a love for the studio than it is anything else. Like the studio makes a certain type of game, and so you either like it or you don't. It's very Marmite.
It has frustrated me, Jay, because time and time again, Nintendo get away with making the same game every time. And suddenly when Bethesda makes it, it's oh yeah, but it's still got Bethesda problem. Yeah, so fucking what,
Well,
man? Pokemon
it's
looks
all
like a fucking
they've
PS2 game. How about you raise that in the fucking review? Bias,
yeah
bias,
they've actually
bias,
been
bias,
talking about
bias.
that
It's
weirdly.
so biased. I will go to the defense of Bethesda, but only because you have to be consistent with these things. Yeah, you're going to tell me Red Dead 2 is too long, but guess what? I want a 60-hour single player game. So guess what? It's a fucking 10 out of 10, bro. Starfield is not a 7 out of 10 if you fucking play video games.
No, it's 8 minimum.
Minimum.
Minimum. It's funny. Like I guess you could make the comparison where like AC games, like they're all the same, but just different
Right,
times,
right.
right? But Bethesda isn't. Like it's the same foundation, same skeleton, same groundwork, but just completely different reskin, and usually different mechanics and improved along the way. So you know, if they're not complaining about AC, they shouldn't be complaining about this at all in that
I
way.
agree.
But there definitely are a lot of things in Starfield where you kind of go, that should have been that should have been like basic kind of yep. But I can see why they didn't. I can see why Bethesda didn't do certain things. It definitely probably would have got in the way. But I also think, like a lot of games that are coming out at the minute, this game isn't necessarily in beta still. But there's definitely a lot they can do to it that will improve it over time. Much like how, I mean, I think a lot of people forget Fallout 4 was abysmal on launch. It barely hit like 20 frames. Like it
Okay.
was
I didn't
awful.
play it on launch. I can't really comment.
Yeah, it was probably the worst, probably one of the worst Bethesda launches I've ever had. It was
Okay.
awful. But then it now plays 60, you
Mm.
know.
On the Series
So
X, yeah. Yeah.
um, and I think the game will be optimized, the game will be updated. I mean, they're even adding console mod support, aren't they? Official mod support in 2024. And I think they're doing it on PC as well. I mean, they obviously are, but I'm not sure if they've. I mean, there's already mods for it, but I don't think it's official. It's all unofficial stuff, isn't it? So
I think on the because we're going so quick here, Jay. Um, so on
mm,
that, you're right. There's improvements to be made, which does make me wonder. You know, it does make me wonder. I'm not saying I'm expecting the world, but like you say, Jay, there's a couple of very small. What's the term? Quality of life improvements, which you have to
yeah,
wonder. So nobody gave you this feedback like within 2 months of launch. Like this wasn't
they
on like
probably
number
did.
one priority
It's
list.
just that they didn't have like the time to do that. They had to make sure that the game ran properly
Sure.
first.
And you're probably right. So I can see things being updated for sure. I think it'll get a lot of support. What was the
Yeah,
point you just made
over
before
like
that,
literally like in
Jay?
5 years, that game will be,
Yeah.
which is a funny thing to say, but in many years, the game will be disgustingly improved. So
As most games are
you'd
these
like to think
days, to be
so.
honest. But that's
Yeah,
not to
you'd
say.
like to
But
think
it
so.
probably should be said, Jay. I personally think this is their most polished launch, though, despite the
Oh,
quality of life
100%. Dude, this
improvements.
game is so polished, it's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Have you actually come across any bugs or no?
Yes. Couple.
Yeah, but a lot less than you'd think,
Just
right?
appearance stuff. Nothing major. Nothing major.
Yeah, nothing major for me either. I'd say I had that thing where like certain NPCs have got like stuck and their bodies just sort of like amalgamate into like a blobby mess and in the sky kind of thing. But I think is I've had that in the same spot like a couple times, which is weird. But
Sure.
yeah, other than that, nothing
So on
really
that, Jay,
outrageous.
what are you talking about in terms of Daggerfall? So let's. I don't think this is spoiler territory. We should probably explain how landing on a planet works because I've been trying to figure this out for like 50 hours.
What do you mean? There's not really much to figure
Well, I
out.
didn't know how it worked
Go on.
until I played the game.
Oh, yeah.
So it's
Okay.
basically, from what I understand it, sea technology like Minecraft, right?
Yeah.
It's basically generating the planet as you travel it.
Yeah. So every time you basically they put these like square seeds on a flat plane, and then they've been able to wrap that around a planet or a moon, and then whenever you go to a certain would you like latitude, I guess, on the
Mm,
planet, that seed will always be randomly generated depending on where you land. Usually, it'll be depending on what type of material is there, because the materials are set in
right.
stone,
As are the
and then it'll also depend on the type of planet. So if it's like a more of an ocean planet, or more of a desert planet, or
right.
more of a foresty, marshy, swampy. Like there's so many different biomes. Depending on where you land, you're going to get a different
Right,
thing. So
exactly. And what I didn't realize, okay, so firstly, Joe, when I first sort of found that out, I was a little bit disappointed because, like you say, I was sort of more looking forward to the handcrafting element of that. Like, one of the reasons I like exploring every
good.
location in Fallout 4 is because I know that someone has, in one way or another, for lack of a better term, touched it, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
And with
Yes.
Starfield, it obviously it all requires crafting. I get that, but it's different. It's different. It's like you kind of know in your head that well, there's only going to be 20 options here of what a sort of location I'll come across, and despite how varied it is, and it is very very varied, and I'm still motivated to go on the planets. Clearly, there is a little bit I think in the back of your mind which thinks, yeah, but I know it's kind of auto generated, so it's kind of whatever.
Mm. I kind of think this game should have been less ambitious.
So not auto generated, just all handcrafted on planets.
No, yes, but like I wish that there was half as many planets, or even like a quarter as many planets, but more handcrafted.
Mm,
It didn't need that many systems and planets to go to. Just not even it didn't need it. I think that's more there for like to say they were able to do it. They did it as like a yep, we were able to do it, so there it is.
on the one hand, I agree with you, but on the other hand, would you ever get that feeling of how big space is without that in that game?
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? Because you make it a lot smaller and you make it more handcrafted. You might as well have just made a one that was on one planet. You might as well have made another Fallout, basically.
Or like just
So
one solo or whatever you want to do. Like, yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's a bit. I think there's definitely aspects of it that are too ambitious. I think it does some similarly suffer from the cyberpunk. That's fine. You could try and say that 5 times fast.
bamily bamily bunch
Similarly
bunny.
suffer the cyberpunk disease in that it was just too overly ambitious. If you ask me, I think that is part of the reason why I feel a little bit underwhelmed in certain areas, but extremely whelmed in others.
Yes, extremely well.
It just depends, to be
So
honest. But
would you say you finished most of the handcrafting bits of the game?
yeah, I'd say there's probably only 2 or 3 places I haven't been and done much at yet. So yeah, I've done. I'd say I've probably done like 70% of the handcrafted stuff
Okay, all right.
after what is it, almost 100 hours. So I thing is, I could spend forever in this game, but I've got other things to do. So I kind of have to play efficiently. If not, that's part of the reason why I cheesed the way I did. There was another 2 reasons. It was one, I have other things to play, and I know I haven't got a lot of time. And two, the way the loot system works in the game, the higher level you are, sometimes depending on what areas you go to, you can get better loot. Essentially, you probably haven't even got to that bit yet because you aren't past level 30. Until you're past level 30, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And I didn't. So I forgot to say a point, Jay. Despite the auto generation piece, it does sort of
Mm.
it works in terms of, well, if you did land on a planet, you wouldn't be able to walk. This is really hard to explain. But
I know what you
every time you
mean.
click on a planet and you land on that spot, and then you click on another spot and
Yeah.
it's right next to it, you wouldn't be able to walk from spot A to spot B. So it kind of makes sense that every time you land on the planet,
You
you would, you know,
I think it would have been more interesting if it was more like Minecraft, in that you could just keep on walking forever, and the next seed would just generate from there.
yeah, I get you.
Like, because the planet is already wrapped in thousands of seeds, why not just be able to walk around the thousand
Yeah,
seeds
yeah, yeah.
and just have there be like a mini loading screen of you like walking into the
So
distance
you
into the
could
next area? I
theoretically
think that would
walk
have been
around the
more
whole planet and
interesting.
come back to point.
Thing is, it would have to deload the previous seed. I think because the game would have to have like almost like a yeah. That's why they didn't do it. It would take too much CPU power.
Mm. I bet they looked at it.
You have to deload and reload the next place, but you'd have to have like almost like a hanging load in the back, and that would just take up too much. You'd be dropping frames like crazy.
One of the motivating things for me playing this game, Jay, you might think this is heresy, but because of the way I'm exploring planets, I'm listening to a lot of music and podcasts while playing it, and I'm finding it's hitting the spot there. Like I'm just like, if you were like, Nick, check out this band or check out this podcast or check out this show, I'll just be like, yeah, cool, yeah, scan, 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 scan. Like, and that's
Sure.
yeah.
I'm actually curious what your skill tree looks like. I bet it looks way
Mate,
different
it's
from
really
mine.
boring. It's really boring.
Because most of my skill tree is in the combat
Sure,
stuff.
sure.
Like whenever I play any type of Bethesda-y, cyberpunk-y type game like that, I immediately go for what can I do with my
Mm.
guns. Like that is my thing. I don't care about much else. Like I think I've got all the stealth stuff sorted out, the health stuff sorted out, like so I can just survive. So I've actually been playing it a lot on very hard.
Really?
It's been quite interesting. Yeah,
Did you change
for
that
two
when you
reasons
got
again:
older?
loot and just it's just I got like a high level, so I thought I'd give it a go for a bit.
So you changed it.
It's a bit bullet spongy, but it's fun
Mm,
to a degree.
yeah. Okay.
Um,
Do you get
and
more
then
XP and
a
stuff,
little bit
Jay?
into no, you don't,
Get a better
unfortunately.
loot? No, no.
The only way you get better XP is if you just defeat higher level enemies. So you could have it on very easy and get the same amount. But you do get a bet. You get the higher the way that it works with difficulty is the higher difficulty you play on, the more chance of rarer loot spawning. But there is a way to cheese it, so you
Okay.
know
Okay.
it's hard to describe, but there is a way to
Would you
cheese it.
say, Jay, that this game delivers?
It delivers on what they said. Don't think it necessarily delivers on what I had in my head to make it
What
rhyme.
did you have in your head?
More handcrafted stuff.
Okay.
I was expecting like way more, uh, main cities to go to.
Mm.
If I'm honest, like way more like NPCs that you could get to know, like interesting characters. I feel like they sort of blew their load on Constellation. Like yeah, there's like 10 characters in Constellation. That's all you're really gonna get, you know. There's a couple that people here and there where you're like, oh, they're interesting on a different planet, but like I wish there was more.
Okay.
I kind of reckon they're just gonna. The part of the reason why the thing is so big is if there's going to be DLC in the future, then those other planets they'll like generate the new main cities on those other planets. I think that's what they'll do.
Um,
That's probably part of the reason why it's so big is because they're actually going to add on later on.
Jay, some people who have talked about this game online said it's really difficult to talk about the game without spoiling anything.
Oh yeah, pretty difficult
It,
to a degree.
so, hold on, you might be disconnecting here. Am I
You
disconnecting?
sure? No, looks good to me.
Fine, okay. Um, yeah, no, oh, jeez. Is there any way you can explain to me, Jay? This is a challenge for you, without
Please.
without spoiling the rest of the game, because I'm really early on still. Why Why is it so hard to try and explain the game without is there even are these people talking about things that I know about that I shouldn't spoil? Like, do you know what I mean? Or is there just like this crazy fucking
No,
world
no.
changing?
There is something. There's something, yeah, that if I even just barely mention it, you'll just be like, well, that's it. That's the whole thing.
Okay, right,
Like, genuinely, the end of the game is spoiled if I mention anything
right, okay,
to do with something. Like, I don't even know if you even know about it. That's what worries me. Because if you know about it, you kind of have a brief idea as to what happens. But if you don't, it does kind of like, a little bit. It kind of spoiled it for me, but in a way where I don't really care about it too much. Like, it doesn't fuss me. So,
Would you say?
but you might be
Would you
different.
say the Did you enjoy the story?
Yeah. I'm trying to say something without saying something.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Here's one for you.
let's
Oh,
put it this way. This is like the best way to describe it. Okay. Yeah, I'm a fan of tragedies.
okay.
So like Greek
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
tragedies, like the sort of a tragedy. Like if a movie happens and the ending is everyone dies or um, only one person survives and they think they're going to make it out but then they end up dying in the end anyway, like that kind of like tragedy thing. Or maybe like they think they found a cure but really it actually made the whole thing worse and the movie just ends, or like a black screen or whatever. Like the game isn't like that, but is like that in some ways. Not that exact thing, but it almost feels like the whole thing feels a bit more superficial, or like, is it superfluous? Is that the right word?
Superfluous. Yeah.
It all just kind of feels like. You know what's funny about the game? The game story kind of feels a lot like real life, and it like, what does it really matter? Like, what is the purpose of us, of human, like the human race? Like, what do we do? What do us traveling the stars? Did it even make a difference? Kind of thing. Like that's about as much as I can say without really saying much more. Like you'll kind of get what I mean. But this game is extremely deep and philosophical, and like it really makes your mind kind of think, wow, like fucking humans are just insane.
That sounds like my kind of ballpark, Jay. That sounds like my sort of
Yeah,
game.
like that is probably the best thing about this game is how real it is.
Okay.
Like it's I think because they were describing the whole thing is like they described the game as NASA punk, right? It's basically like space punk stuff, but grounded in NASA, in that NASA is very real. Like this game feels like what would actually happen if we had to
Yeah,
leave
yeah,
Earth.
yeah, yeah. Totally.
Like it's way too close to home, basically. Like it's exactly how things
Yeah,
would be,
sure.
and it's scary how close you'd imagine it to be. I think that's probably the best thing about it. It's just how real it actually could happen.
Okay, got you. Okay,
Like the way they do space travel with like helium-3 or whatever is a little sort of like, that's sort of like the disbelief suspension level of it. But other than that, it's just like, wow, okay, they could make a really good movie or TV show out of this. I'd say like a good TV show. They could make a great TV show out of this.
cool. Okay. Um. Well,
I can't wait for you to see what happens.
to
I just can't wait to see what your
just to
opinion is.
finish on, I guess general thoughts. Like I'm still playing it. Um, it's just so hard to give judgment on
Dude,
such
you're
a.
never gonna get to the end.
You underestimate me, bro.
Like you'll either do that thing where you'll be like, all right, I just need to get to the end now and just shoot there,
Yep.
like I did, and it'll probably take you about 40, 50 hours or so just to do the rest of it. or you'll just keep doing what you're doing, and it'll take you another 200, 300 hours to get there.
Could be.
I guess it just depends on how you want your experience to go. I guess
It's not as. I know how my mind works. It's not going to be as bad as you think it is.
I'm just waiting for that part of your brain just to snap and be like, right, I just need to go. I just need to finish it now.
No, I hear you.
I don't know how long you're going to be able to hold on for.
And it may happen. And it may happen.
What? Okay, here's the question. What's the next game you want to play? Like day one?
Mirage.
So what, October 20th?
Yeah.
15th?
Yeah, but hold on a minute.
Do you think you're going to have Starfield done before then?
No, this is a carry-on journey, bro.
Oh, okay, so you're going to just keep coming back
Yeah.
to it is what you're going to keep doing. Right, that's fine. I will say Starfield's a very easy game just to jump back into. I've done it like 2 or 3 times over the last 2 or 3 days.
And that's kind of weird considering how deep it is, don't you think? It's kind of weird that you can just jump in and out.
Yeah, you can just sort of chip at it,
Yeah.
really. You don't really need to... You can either spend like 10, 20 hours in a couple of days on it, or you can just jump in for an hour or 2 and jump back out again. Just depends on what you're really up to.
Well, us chatting makes me want to do the main quest, so hopefully that helps you.
To be honest, I kind of wish I hadn't done the main quest as soon as I did.
You just told me to do that.
I wish I'd done everything before and then done the main quest like before after I'd done everything.
But you just told me to do the main quest. Yeah.
Did I? Well, no, I said I wonder how long it'll take for you to just want to get it out of the way.
Okay, my bad. But you wouldn't recommend doing that?
Hell no. Biggest regret. I don't know what it made me really pissed off when I was reading all those people on Twitter being like, "Just finish the main story. You'll get why." I'm like, dude, that's the complete wrong.
Oh man.
But luckily, people like Destin and
Ryan.
I want to say Ryan. We're all like, yeah, don't do the main story. Not a good idea.
Right. Okay. I don't think this is spoilers, Jay, because Todd Howard announced it. But
oh, go on.
You can tell me if I need to cut it out. But he said there's a new game plus.
Yeah, so that is the thing I didn't want to mention.
Well, Todd announced it.
Well, that's the thing, is that he did. And that kind of made me go,
Is there like a Fallout 3 ending here type thing? I know exactly what you're talking about.
What's that then?
Okay, well, hold on a minute. Don't fucking spoil Starfield for me. But all I mean is, when Todd says something like that, I'm thinking,
yes.
Oh, okay. So if you finish Fallout 3 original, you die, and that's it.
Yeah, it's just it. You can't go back. But they then later changed that with the Mothership Zeta DLC.
Broken Steel DLC. Yeah.
Broken Steel, one of the DLCs. Yeah, they were like, right, you can go back now.
So, and then, fucking dude. That's why I hate people. I hate being online. Is that people were like saying stuff like, "Oh yeah, the game begins when you start New Game Plus" and all this kind of bullshit. I'm like, stop talking. Just stop talking.
No, it's not true. I've done it, and it's not. You don't. Let's put it this way: you don't ever want to do New Game Plus.
So you're not incentivized. You personally don't feel incentivized to do New Game Plus.
I think it's more of a gimmick.
Fine. Okay.
Don't do it. Trust me. You'll regret it. Because I did it 10 times.
You did it 10 times? What?
10 times. I'm on New Game Plus 10 on one of my saves.
I'm so confused right now.
You can speed run the main story in about 45 minutes.
What if you know where to go and what to do?
The game allows you to skip like 80% of the main story if you do a New Game Plus. So if you do New Game Plus and you don't want to do the main story again, you can just skip it and then get right to the end again.
But why would you do that?
There's rewards for doing more New Game Pluses, but they're not worth it.
Okay, well, we're going to have to come back to that then at some point.
Yeah, trust me, it took me 8 hours to do it, and I just, nope, not worth it.
Right. Okay.
I have that save if I want to go play it, but I was like, fuck that, I'm going back to my first one.
Okay. Well, I can cut that out if you want me to, Jay. If you feel like it's not right to mention,
I'll go into more depth about exactly what happened and why it's all part of the thing. And once you've got there, but I think is you're not going to get there next year. You're not going to get there
at some point,
unless you spoil it for yourself.
At some point, we will discuss it. Me and you. on the pod.
Yeah, this time next year, maybe.
Very good,
Maybe.
very good. I'm very
But
intrigued,
I'm
but
looking forward to it. Oh, dude, it's
yeah,
insane.
like, well,
You'll get what I mean about the whole tragedy thing too, and how that
fine. But do
incorporates
you know
in
what,
there,
Jay?
and the sort of the human element or
What's
whatever.
annoying is what's annoying is I didn't look at almost anything. Well, that's not true. I saw
Good.
the 40-minute big reveal this year, and that was it. So the fact that I just knew that one slither piece of information,
That was necessary, actually, the 40-minute thing. Yeah.
why I knew that fucking tiny piece of information about New Game Plus, who knows? But now just it annoys me. It frustrates me.
Well, it wasn't not ever going to be kept secret, the New Game Plus, but I feel like it almost should have been.
Right. Okay. Okay. Okay.
But yeah, again, it's not worth it. The New Game Plus is not. It's not even worth it a little bit. And it took me. I wasted 8 hours doing it as well. It took me that long to realize. That probably should have just played the game.
Okay. All right.
That's why I'm just
Hey, dude, I'm
finish
gonna,
the main
if it's all right
story.
with
Trust
you,
me.
I'm gonna keep scanning planets for 15 hours, completely forget what you told me, and
Dude,
then
do it
just.
for 150. Just keep
Okay,
going.
all right,
Trust me.
cool.
It'll be worth it.
Okay, you ready to move on, Jay? Yeah.
Please,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Let's move on to what else you've been playing,
Yes. Shall I
please.
start? Lies of P.
Eliza P.
Been playing it since day one.
Cool. Game Pass, right? Day one.
Game Pass. I've put about 25 hours in so
Okay.
far. I'm on the very last boss. I was literally about to do it. I attempted it for the first try just before we started this, and I was like, right, I'm going to have to think about this a lot harder. Because the first stage is piss easy, second stage, very
Okay.
difficult. But yeah, the game is. What do you think my opinion of the game is? Because I think of you now as a Souls player. I feel like you can't really be a Souls player unless you've completed Bloodborne and at least one Dark Souls game.
Okay. Jay, you're not gonna like my opinion.
I know I'm not, which is why I'm here to persuade you
Fine.
differently, and you're gonna see
Okay,
why. Trust
I
me.
played the demo and I thought it played like crap. It was slow, it was boring, the level design was
Yes.
crap, and it
Yes.
was basically a
Okay.
very, very bad Bloodborne, in my humble opinion.
Hmm.
You're going to tell me
Okay.
don't play it like Bloodborne. Oh,
Now I'm just gonna say that the demo was a much worse build than the actual day
are you
one build.
serious?
They fixed loads of stuff, dude. It's insane.
Really?
Yeah, apparently the dodging in the demo was like the
Abysmal.
worst it ever has been.
Abysmal.
It's so much better now, dude. This again, like this, almost calling back to Starfield, but apparently this game gets a lot better in New Game Plus 1 and 2. There's just like a bunch more you can unlock
Oh,
and like skill
really?
trees and
Oh,
stuff. Yeah,
cool.
the game like gets really really cool after, which I'm about to get New Game Plus 1. So I actually plan to do New Game Plus 1 and 2 eventually.
Chivos?
It's actually it. Achievo wise, it's if I'd been following a guide, which I hadn't, because I'm stupid from the beginning, I would have probably been close to getting 1,000.
Wow. Collectibles or?
But there's two things I did wrong. I did one bit of dialogue wrong, and I missed out on a side quest.
Ugh.
And if I hadn't, I'd have saved myself a whole new
Is it
playthrough.
open world?
It plays a lot like Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3,
Okay.
where it's like area, beginning area, hub, area into next area, back to hub, new area, new area, new area, back to hub, new area. Like it's just like it's very much into the next, into the next, into the next. Plays very, very like that. I think Lies of P might be one of the most underrated games of this year. You know how when there was Themyscira came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was like a really bad Souls like that came out for like 30 quid or something, and then there was Steel Rising that came
Yeah.
out as
Remember
well.
that? Yeah.
Those are
Yeah.
abysmal. But then we had Wolong come out, and you know how much I love Wolong. Like that
Won't long,
is
bro.
to me that is the same level as FromSoft.
Okay.
Same
Okay. All
level.
right. Okay.
I would put Lies of P same level. FromSoft.
Really?
It is. It honestly might even be better than Wolong.
Okay.
It is phenomenal. And post credit of this game alludes to a sequel.
Bit ambitious.
but many sequels, but with different themes.
Alice in Wonderland.
So,
Very
yes,
good. Very good. We should probably
yes.
cut that
So this
out,
is
actually.
Pinocchio. Yeah,
We
we'll probably,
probably should cut
maybe,
that out.
spoilers, but this is Pinocchio, the story of Pinocchio. They're doing the story of Alice. They're probably going to be doing the story of something else, like other fairy tales. What other ones are there?
Brothers Grimm stuff, like
Alice,
Hansel and Gretel, like
Pinocchio. Yeah, Hansel and Gretel, like all that stuff. Like all the kind of stuff you see in like Kingdom Hearts as well.
sweet. Sweet.
Dude, I can't wait for Alice. Dude, you know how much I love
Yeah,
Alice
man.
game. Alice game genuinely is like my top 20 games of all time.
Okay.
I love that
Okay.
game. Love it. Like it's so good. This honestly, this game is ridiculously good.
Okay.
And it's very, very. The combat is not as bad as Sekiro, but I'd say slightly more forgiving than Wolong. Wolong, you have to get really, really good at it, and it's very, very forgiving. The window of parries, but the window in this is slightly less forgiving, but still very fun. Like the whole get good kind of mechanic of like you have to be good at parrying and stuff in this game definitely is like plays into it, but you don't have to. Either you play as like a strength build where you parry and you guard a lot of the time, or you play as a dexterity type build where you're constantly dodging and like weaving in really quick attacks.
So don't parry at all, almost.
You can, yeah. A lot of the dexterity weapons have like mechanics where you can parry in a very special way, like a lot more mobility.
But the fact that you've gone to the end by 25 hours makes me think that it's not.
Same as Wolong. Wolong took exactly 24 hours.
So it's not like. What I'm trying to say is, Sekiro, you could spend 10 hours and not even get to the second boss. So
That's how hard it was.
This isn't that.
Well, you got to think. I'm pretty good at Souls games.
Sure.
Like it took. I mean, it's the longest it took me to kill a single boss was like an hour and 45 minutes.
Okay. Is it RPG led, like Wolong, like Dark Souls?
No, it's more
Skill based.
Well, it's more like Elden Ring.
I don't know what that is.
Well, more like Dark Souls.
Fine.
Less like Wolong. There's no like loot.
Oh no,
it's just weapon
sorry.
And you
I
upgrade
just
it.
meant like what I meant was it's not Sekiro where it's skill based. It is like you can level up and stuff.
Yeah, it's more like Dark Souls 1, 2,
Fine.
and 3.
Fine.
It's more back to basics. Do you know what's funny though? The people who made this, Korean developers who made is it Bless Online? I think they made.
I don't recognise that name.
Hang on, I need to close my thing for a second. My laptop's doing something funny. I'm still talking.
We're in
But
the
yeah,
dark.
it's,
We're in the dark.
It is kind of an amazing game, and I'm actually kind of blown away at how fucking good it is.
Really?
Holy shit! It's kind of it's up there now. I think it genuinely my list of like rating Souls games probably goes in no particular order. Maybe like Bloodborne,
Don't do this, Jay. You'll
Elden
regret
Ring, Wolong, and Lies of P. I honestly think those games, Wolong and Lies of P, are better than Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3.
I think you're mad. You're absolutely mad.
No, I think they are. I think they're different enough for me to be interesting, have the interest there.
What's good is,
and I think the subject matter helps a lot, and like the IP helps a lot with Lies of P. Like the fact that they actually took the Pinocchio story and like really went like the amount of lore in this game is insane, much like the Dark Souls games.
I think what is good is that we have From Software
Story is
clones that are becoming as good. You know, I guess. You know.
Yeah, it's very hard to do that. I've only seen it done twice. Lies of P and Wolong. They're the only two games that I've seen come close. It's insanely good. I wouldn't underestimate it. Seriously, you're gonna hate it for like ages, but then you're gonna like it a lot, a lot like Wolong. That's funny about these Souls games; they take a long time to get into. I think it's one of the hardest games to get into.
See, you say that.
Games.
I still think if you can get through an hour of Bloodborne, you're in.
Do this.
I genuinely believe that. I do.
Yeah, Bloodborne is the most accessible. If you can get through past the first boss, yeah, you're good.
Like, you're so good.
It's kind of the same in this. Like this felt a lot like Bloodborne. This felt like the mixture between Bloodborne and like Dark Souls. It was like right in
So
between.
you reckon this is well worth playing, do you?
Less like I don't know why people keep calling it Sekiro, but it's not.
Because
It's
of
not
the
even
parrying.
close. No, it's just nothing like
Hmm.
Sekiro. People keep saying, "Oh, it's more like Sekiro." I'm like, "Fuck
People,
no, it
stop being
isn't."
wrong. Jesus.
They're really
Yeah.
wrong, extremely wrong. It's annoying how wrong. I actually thought the level design was pretty basic, but it's similar to Dark Souls 1 and 2.
Okay.
Very similar. I think that seeing this developer go from Bless Online or whatever to this, like a lot of Korean developers have a very specific style, but they completely like went more the FromSoft way, and it paid off. I'm kind of glad they didn't do their own thing. They did and they didn't. Like it's a good inspiration amount of inspiration used. A lot of like cool mechanics and like side quests in the game that you've never seen before.
Okay.
Like really interesting new ways of doing things, while also taking away from Soft. Dude, it's insane.
So
Honestly, it's like I have like a list in my head now of like games from this year where I'm like they just blew my mind.
can I have a quick temperature check, Jay? What are you
Please.
feeling about? Sorry, I've got a spot on my arm that's really annoying me. Can I just
Yeah.
right. Um what temperature check on Hogwarts Legacy, if you will, please.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. What about it?
I feel like it's dropped off the face of the earth.
Well, I feel like it had its time. I think it will definitely win something at the Game
Is
Awards.
it still worth
It won't be Game of the
is it
Year.
worth me playing, trying out, seeing
Yeah. Oh, 100%. You kidding me?
Elle says it's quite bloaty.
Yeah. Fairly.
Okay.
Definitely worth it
Well,
though. I say if you're a Harry Potter fan, you'll love it a
I
lot.
just can't. Even if a game's bloaty. Okay, for instance, the new Avatar game looks kind of shite, but I'm still kind of want to play it.
It's just Far
Yeah,
Cry.
but worse.
I'm not playing it. You couldn't pay me to
But
play it.
like, all I mean is because it's set in Avatar, I'll play it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's an aspect of it. Yeah, like a lot of the times these games are a similar type of model to other games, but because of the IP and the
Mm,
skin, it makes it more
mm.
appealing. Same with Hogwarts, same with Liza P, same with AC games, same with Call of Duties. Like new skin, same skeleton, fun to play.
So with Lies of P, then, do you recommend I play this game?
Yes, at some point you have to be in the mood.
I'm not in the mood. I am
If you're not
not in the
even,
mood.
if you're not, yeah, if you're not in the Souls mood, you'll hate
Well,
it. You'll be like, why the
the
fuck am I
problem I've
playing
got,
this?
Jay, is that I've got Elden Ring there ready to go.
Yeah, do that
Cool.
first. Trust me.
We're good. We're
Come back.
good.
I think Liza P won't leave Game Pass for like 2 years,
Okay.
if not longer. This game, a lot of people have been playing this game.
Okay.
It's, oh, dude, I honestly, it annoys me how good it is. Like, I was really, really thinking it was going to be like Steel Rising and just bad, but it's just so good. It's so well designed. It's insane. Honestly, if they don't win an award for something, I'll be pissed.
Okay.
It's like, you would never think this was made by a Korean developer. Like you just think, oh, there's something someone from the West did, like an American company made this or something, or maybe even Japanese. Like it's so well done. Actually, I think you probably can think it's done from Asians because Asians seem to be way better at making games than Americans or even Europeans at this
Sure.
point. If I could have only Asian-made games, I would because they're just so good at it.
Asian persuasion.
They tend not to censorship anything either, so that tends to help.
Jay, do you mind if we move on to what else you've been playing? Because I'm a bit conscious of time. It's getting a bit
Yes,
late. We've got a lot to cover. I don't want to rush you, but we have got a lot to cover.
no, that's fine. Cyberpunk Update 2.0 and the DLC.
Yes.
I've dabbled in the 2.0 update because they are separate. 2.0 update came out on the 21st. DLC comes out on the 26th, so I won't be playing that until then. That is my plan. I've now pretty much finished Liza P, so I'll be moving on to that shortly.
How was it? How
Um,
was the update?
I haven't really gone too into depth because I didn't want to do too much until the DLC was out. So I only really know about I've just sort of been looking at the skill tree, thinking how am I going to readjust my skills. Really, there's a couple of things where I'm like, ah, that's annoying. Other things where I'm like, that could be interesting. It's funny. I think it's probably best to play this game from the beginning again. Like, if you've never played it, it'd be amazing to play from the beginning now.
Okay. Good for me. No offense.
But if you're a comeback person, it's a little bit more like
Eh.
less to think about. But it's kind of like, yeah, I just want to get on playing the
So Jay,
DLC.
with your timeline then, right? So in my head, you've got Lies of P, you've got Cyberpunk DLC, you've got Spider-Man
I
2.
might not even bother finishing Lies of P just because I think it's going to take too much effort and mental brain
What for
power
that
just to
final
get there.
boss?
Yeah. Well, technically there's 2 bosses, but I won't go into detail.
I think you're gonna need to finish that, Jay.
It could take me a while. I will. I'll probably come
But
back to
what's
it.
the timeline here? We've got Lies of P, we've got Cyberpunk DLC, Spider-Man 2. What else have we got towards the end?
No, you missed. So this is what I'm gonna also say. Game Pass. A couple of games coming out on Game Pass. We've got, well, technically one of them isn't in Game Pass. We've got a free to play My Hero Academia battle royale style game.
Right.
Do you know My Hero
I know of
Academia,
it.
the
I know
manga
of it.
anime?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. So I'll be playing that on the 28th. The 26th, we've got Ace Attorney, the trilogy. It's coming
Are
to
you gonna
Game
try that out
Pass.
again? Are you gonna play it?
Yeah, I've already played the first 2 games. I'm going to replay them and the third
What
one.
you gonna
And
play through all of
then
them?
I think play through all of them, 100% them, get all the
Fuck off. No,
achievements
what?
best I can.
What?
Oh, dude, those games are so fun.
Yeah,
You don't
but
even
like, dude,
believe. You
that's
don't
gonna
even
take you like
know.
40, 50 hours.
We'll see. We'll see. I'll look into it. And then we've also got the other Ace Attorney games coming out in January next year.
Is
I
that
think
so? Is that
for
the
Game
other
Pass.
3 effectively?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's pretty
So
cool
can't
that
wait for
they're
that as
coming to
well.
Game
Dude,
Pass.
the beginning of next year is so packed because February we've got Persona 3 Reload, uh, Fantasy Grand Blue Fantasy coming out on like 2 days after that. Dude, that's going to be insane. February's going to be insane, and January as well. And then yeah, so I'm sort of debating on what I'm going to be doing, whether Cyberpunk, Ace Attorney, or this My Hero game. I've got like 4 days where 3 games are coming out, and I've just got to pick something.
Ooh.
But I've got till middle of October or beginning of
Mirage.
October. Then I'm playing Mirage. Problem is, we've then got Spider-Man 2 on the 20th, so it's like very cut for time right now.
Fuck. That's a hard one for me.
Yeah, I think I'm going to prioritize Spider-Man when it comes out.
Spider-Man's
Obviously,
going to be a better game, no doubt about it. But I love
Mirage is
Assassin's
obviously a lot
Creed.
shorter of a
Yeah,
game
that's
as
true.
well, so I think I'll probably get through that in a week.
Yeah,
Probably
100%. You'll get through that in a week for
the
sure.
weekend. I'll start it at the weekend. I'll get through probably half of it, and then I'll finish it by the next weekend.
Jay, I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to a short AC experience like that. I'm just really looking
I'm
forward
honestly
to
not
it.
really in. A lot of the time, whenever an AC game is coming out, I'm not in the mood for it until the day it comes out.
You're crazy.
Like right now, I don't even see
I
myself
could play
playing
that
it.
right
I'm
now
like,
if
yeah,
I
I'm
had
not in
that
the mood.
installed. I'm well in the mood for that.
No, I'm not. I'm the
Uh,
complete opposite. I feel like AC games almost need to sneak up on me for
But
me to
what's
enjoy
crazy
them.
as well, Jay, is that this is the first main-ish kind of game we've got in 3 years, and then hopefully we'll be getting a big one next year. But it's like, I just think the timing is great. I just think just give me a short, sweet
Yeah,
experience.
I'm more excited about the story and how they're going to keep going with
Yeah,
it.
well, we'll see. We'll see.
I care more about the story about AC than I do about the actual mechanics of it now.
I think Spider-Man 2 will be a much better game. Jay, what's your temperature read right now? Do you think that game's going to be like everything we hope it to be? Spider-Man 2.
I think it'll actually probably underwhelm
Yeah, I
slightly.
agree. I agree. I think we're going to
I
have
don't
a
think they've done
Ragnarok.
enough
We're going to have a
change to the
Forbidden West.
game.
It's just not going to quite, you know.
Yeah, it's not going to quite hit
Yeah.
the mark. I think it'll sell well. It'll sell 20 million
Yep.
units
Agreed.
in the first
Agreed.
month,
Yeah.
if not more. But just because it's got a lot of sales doesn't necessarily mean the game has actually been improved. I will say the fast travel element looks amazing. So if you've seen that,
I
have you?
haven't.
The thing where when you fast travel now, it's like instant and you swing out of the fast travel. So you're already moving
Oh
through
my
the air.
god.
And you can switch back and forth between miles and
I've heard that's
feet
pretty
at any time
instantaneous as
as well.
well. Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool.
That's the most interesting thing to me, but everything else is just going to be much the same. I mean, I love those games. Again, I've completed the game 3 times on
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
and done all the DLC, so I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. I'm actually more excited for the DLC about that game than I am the actual
I'll
main
shut your
game.
pile. Right,
DLCs are so good for the Spider-Man
they are
games,
good.
dude.
What else is coming out, Jay? For you? Or is that it?
That's all I can. I mean, there's in November we've got the new Persona 5 game.
Are you trying that? Are you playing that?
Yeah, I've got it pre-downloaded. We've also got Forza
Ugh,
Motorsport,
you playing that?
beginning of October. Yeah. Do you know what I pre-downloaded? That's 130 gig pre-download. So, I mean, that's pretty much the whole thing. The whole game will
Sure.
be
Isn't Starfield
130 gig, but
120 something?
102.
100. That's not too bad, actually.
Yeah. Actually, I think it was 120, and then they managed to squeeze the size down after the latest
Oh,
update.
Jay, can I just put a point in before I forget, please?
Please, yeah.
Um, something I talked about with Elle. I paid for the 30 quid, early access thing like you did for Starfield. I think I play
Yes.
games best, in my opinion, when I pay for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Do you know what's funny? I didn't pay. I paid obviously a subscription, but Persona 5 it was on Game Pass, and I played that game hardcore. So I didn't necessarily pay for it, but I
yeah,
did.
I
But
get you.
I didn't pay full price for the game, and I really
I
hardcore
like
played
to
that game.
get,
So I don't necessarily think that has that much of an element to it, but it does. Like if you've put money in something, you have to get your time
yeah,
out of it, right?
like,
You have to make more of an effort.
exactly. You have to make more. I feel like subconsciously, I already knew. I don't know whether it's because it was
Yeah.
Bethesda or it was this or that, but I just feel like because of what it was, I was just making more effort to read the books, to read the logs, to understand this system, to understand that system. And like I say, I don't know whether I would have done that anyway, but if I
Mm.
pay for Mirage, for instance, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm gonna get every single squeeze out of that game. And if I would I do the same
Yeah.
thing if I bought that game for 10 quid in 3 years' time? Probably not. Probably not.
I think that has less of an impact than you think it does, but
You,
I can see your
you know what I'm trying
thinking
to
and your
say. I'm not
understanding.
saying it's definitive.
I do. I totally get it. It has its place, but I think
Just because
it's
you get a game on sale doesn't mean you're
time
gonna. Yeah, yeah,
dependent.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's another thing. I managed to get Atelier
Mm.
Ryza, the really cool Japanese game. They've finished the trilogy now. The third game came
Did
out
it?
January this year, no March this year. I managed to get it on sale, so I'll be playing that at some point between now and Christmas
Sweet.
probably. I usually get it a year after because it's on like a really big sale, but they managed to cut it in like I think like 30-40% off, something like
Oh,
that. So I was like, yeah, I'm getting that while I can.
sweet.
Plus, the special edition didn't have anything decent in it, so I was like, I'll just get the basic.
Fair,
There's nothing
fair.
special. They didn't really have as much to offer this time. But those games genuinely are like pretty much the same game over and over, but the story just blows my mind. They do change some of the combat mechanics, but
So,
yeah, very
anything
fun.
else, Jake? We should move on to the news as soon as we can, ideally.
I think that's it. I think like yeah, there's lots to play and lots to do.
There is
So
lots to play, lots to do. Okay, let's head into the news then. I've got the stuff on my
mm,
phone. Let's. Well, I'm not going to rush you, but I'm also not going to talk about every fucking story for 20 minutes. Okay,
sure.
so Jay, according to a press release released to loads of people, Division 3 got announced.
Yeah, that was very out of nowhere. Like I was kind of hoping it was going to be like a big trailer at like the Game Awards or something. But I think because it's the third installment of a game that probably hasn't done. I mean, it's done pretty well, but it's not like a big showy thing. But isn't it
Yeah,
Ubisoft?
yeah, yeah.
Now, you'd think Ubisoft would want to save that for something, seeing as Ubisoft never have anything to show off other than AC and Rainbow
Completely
Six,
agree, Jay.
and now Prince of
That's
Persia. It's like, dude, Ubisoft are like so like they've got nothing, have they?
true, but
They've got these really big things that do well, but nothing else.
that's true as well. But to be honest with you, Jay, I feel like the longer time goes on, I agree with you, it's wrong or a bad strategy, but at the same time, do I genuinely think that's going to impede sales of that game? No, because filthy
No.
casuals are going to watch a trailer and go, "Oh, Division,
Yes,
oh, I'll buy that."
Ubisoft.
Ooh, you know what I mean? Like,
Ubisoft is almost like the FIFA of EA. Like it's kind of like all the casuals
yeah,
will play it. Like
exactly.
it doesn't really matter. Like they're
No one
gonna make that.
cares.
Basically, Ubisoft makes their money from their bottom dollar. That's all they make a little bit from us and a little bit from their bottom, and most of it from their bottom dollar. I.e., the people who are always going to buy whatever they do,
Yeah,
regardless. Like they're just sort of
exactly.
like, yeah, they're not hardcore, I guess, which is a funny thing to say.
They're,
You know, I'm
to
not
be
like
honest with you, at the
gatekeeping
end of the
it,
day, Jay, they're not
but
the
I am.
people watching these 50-minute, hour-long conferences. In my opinion, I just don't think they are.
Well,
Maybe some are, but I don't think they are.
yeah, I do think that it's actually a lot more prevalent than you think. But I agree. There's like a lot of like 12, 13-year olds who all they want to do is kick a ball
And play
around.
battle royale.
And yeah, wait for that cloud to come and kill him.
According to
Inner
Insomniac
Circle.
Games' Twitter, Spider-Man 2 has gone gold a month ahead of
Yeah, a
release.
whole month before, which is
Mm.
about right, isn't it? Usually a month. It's like 3 to 4
Jay, if I'm
weeks.
honest with you, I'm starting to think that going gold has nothing to do with the quality of the game at launch sometimes.
No, it's just when they've able to print it on a disc,
But
basically.
it's a good sign. It's a good sign.
Yeah, it means the game is done and that there isn't much more else to do. If there's going to be anything updated now, it will be in scheduled updates post launch
Yeah.
and DLC, obviously. Do you know what? I'm a bit annoyed still about people are still talking about the face of Peter Parker in that game. I don't think any of the faces look good.
Right. Let's just settle this once for all, shall we? Ladies
They
and
all look
gentlemen.
terrible. Old
Do I
one,
have to
terrible.
just.
New
I
one,
don't want any
terrible.
spoilers here, so what am I Googling? Spider Man 2 faces? Character faces?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's only been two.
Spider Man 2's Peter Parker was all in on face change. Says fans need to get over it. Okay.
I think they're all bad. I think the first one looks more like how the comic should be, and the second one looks more like how
When
Tom
you say
Holland
first
is.
and.
So I think I do prefer the first
I
one,
see
but I
what
don't
you're
know.
saying. So there's been 3 changes. Right.
I think so.
Fine. So
Yeah. What's the most recent one?
the
'Cause I haven't
first
even looked.
one, to give you all an idea, if you haven't played the game and you're living under a rock, go play Spider Man, guys. The first
Jade,
one
it's one of
looks
the best
like.
games ever. Oh
The
yeah, I've
first
seen it.
one looks like a child of Willem Dafoe and Tobey Maguire. The
Yes, true.
second one looks like a Tom Holland with a little bit of.
Yes.
I was going to say Britishness, but Tom Holland is British. Sorry, Tom.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then the third one looks like a 5 year older version of that model.
To be honest, the last one actually doesn't look too bad. Now I'm looking at it again. He kind of just looks like a bit more muscly and older of the second one.
I also think, Jay, that this new it's weird they've changed the face completely of Mary Jane. I'm just going to put it's just fucking weird. Like, I'm going to start this game and I'm going to
Have
go,
they?
oh, well, you don't look like the character. Like, this is not good continuity, Insomniac. But I think she looks kind of hotter, the Mary Jane in Spider-Man 2.
Um, it's a tough one. Wow. Now I'm looking at it again and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I honestly don't know which one I prefer. Which one do I prefer? I think I prefer the first one.
I think you're probably right. But the second one does look
They
a
are
lot
very
more
different. You know what's
realistic.
funny? The second one looks like a brunette that dyed her
That's
hair
so
red.
true. That's so true.
She doesn't have a redhead face.
Oh, so true. Get those freckles on there,
Redheads have a
man.
very
No, I'm
particular
joking.
face.
But yeah,
I don't know what it is. Redheads have a very particular face structure, and she just doesn't have it.
Jay, I don't
So
like
she's a
this news
brunette.
story because it means nothing to me. But according to Bethesda's Twitter account, 10 million
Hmm.
players have indeed played Starfield.
Yeah, that means 10 million people have either bought the game and or played it on
Game Pass.
Game Pass. That means it's been downloaded 10 million plus
Yeah,
times.
it doesn't mean. Well, I actually mean. I think it means they've booted the game up. But yeah, I mean, it's great. It
Yeah,
just
they've
doesn't
downloaded it
mean.
and or booted it up.
Jay, when you buy something, you're more likely to play it with just like, you know what I mean? Like, fucking 100 million players can play this game. What does that mean? What does it mean, Basil? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you know,
It's something.
it's more than what FF7 has sold,
Oh, look at that.
apparently.
Look at that. Jay's fucking. What are they called, Jay?
The
There we go.
segues.
There we go.
Segues.
Which is according to, let me guess, Twitter again. Jay, what's this
I'll
news?
let you
Well,
know.
I can find out where this was from. Well, I don't know, but anyway,
I saw it on
some
IGN.
people have figured out that Final Fantasy VII Remake has sold over 7 million copies.
Doesn't actually seem like that much.
I think.
I thought it was at least twice that. Because this actually plays into our other story about Square Enix not having a very good year. Basically, they've lost I think $2 billion.
Okay, so
last
I
year.
just want to get this correct, if that's okay. So this comes by way
Please.
of, I don't know, some IGN I'm reading it from, right? They lost 2 billion, but they lost it in value of their stock. So it's not
Yes.
like they've just like lost
No, it's
out at
not
the
because of game
bank.
sales. Well, it is, but it's basically because their games haven't been selling as well. People are like, well, this company obviously isn't as valuable as it was a year ago.
Right, right.
Like essentially, Square Enix are fucking themselves over.
Well,
Well, we know
That's what
why.
happens when you make a game like Avengers and Forspoken. You know what I mean?
It's what happens when you involve America in your game making. Same thing's happening with Capcom. Capcom USA is destroying Capcom, and Japan needs to get out of America as quickly as possible.
So what I love about this, Jay, is
They're
I
a
still love
scourge, a virus, a
FF7
disease.
remake, and I'm glad it's selling great, and I hope it continues to sell because I love that game
Yeah,
to death.
yeah. Can't wait for the next one. It's coming out
Bro, don't even get me started.
February. When's it coming out? Next
February.
year? February
Oh
of
my
next year?
god, it's just
Again,
coming out so
dude, I've got
quickly.
Persona 3
Oh my
and I've got
god.
Grand Blue.
That's gonna.
I don't know what I'm
I
going to be
think that's gonna be
playing.
a day one fucking. I think I'm gonna have to book a time off for that. If I'm honest with you.
Oh, dude, I totally forgot. I finished Intergrade.
Oh my god! Everyone, stop!
I finished it in
Stop!
a night.
Stop!
I finished it in like 4 hours. It took me like no
No,
time at
dude, what are
all.
you talking about? DLC 4 hours? That's fucking. That's 10 hours for me. Like that's normal.
Yeah, no, yeah. I did literally started it in the evening and finished
Did you
it
play
by like
the
the
mini
end of the
game?
evening.
I can't remember what it's called now.
Hmm.
Kabunsk, whatever the.
Yeah, I did the whole
How
thing,
did you
but
find it?
it was pretty quick of a thing. It was fine.
I think it's a bit harsh, Jay. I thought it was quite good.
I think the synergy thing was probably the best thing about it.
Fine.
It was
It's more.
okay,
It's
but
more
it
seven
was.
remake.
It needed doing so that I could play the next game
Good
and be
man.
happy.
Good man. Jake, do you know what else needs to be happy? Gearbox, because apparently they're up for sale. This comes
Yeah, it
by
is
way of
bit of a rumor,
routers.
but
Go on, sorry.
yeah, I think it's more rumory. But I think who is that company? Bloody Saints Row.
Embrace
People
the
who
group.
owns Saints Row, Embracer. There we go. Yeah, yeah. I think they own Gearbox, so they're kind of like Embracers realise that they're fucked up with Saints Row and a bunch of other games. So they're like, well, now we've got to sell everybody off so we can make our money back.
What's fantastic, I think, about this potential, Jay, is that Gearbox should go back to being independent, or who they were with 2K,
Oh,
or whoever they were
100%.
with before. Okay, I think they were with 2K or Take Two, but like could go independent. And then I think from there, just do what you do best. You know what I mean?
Make Borderlands 4, please.
Or
For the love
I
of
don't know. Is there
God.
anything else you'd want them to make at all, Jay?
A game like Borderlands, but it's set in a different
Fine.
place.
Okay.
So much like a Souls like, have it be a Borderlands
Fine.
like.
Fine.
Same game, different skin.
Fine. Okay.
Just make the same game because it's probably brilliant and improve on it how you
Jay,
can.
I really wanted to include this story. So,
Please.
Jez Corden, who I believe is
Yeah,
a
I like
guy
Jez.
who reports on Xbox stuff, he was on the Xbox 2 podcast, and basically he mentions that, I'm paraphrasing here, guys, but he mentions he spoke to an Xbox exec at Gamescom about the Platinum achievement, and they said they want to do it, it's just a matter of priorities and time, but that it will come apparently. The reason I want to put this on here is that do I think Xbox should prioritize this over making great games? No. Do I still want it? Yes. Do I still want it yesterday? Yes, I do.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that should Xbox prioritize redoing achievements and making them a little bit better and a little bit newer compared to actually making good games? No. Because if you don't make good games, what's the point
Yeah.
of being here? Why?
What's the point in having to like touch up on stuff like that if you haven't even got the first bit right?
Exactly. But I still want new stuff and achievements because I love achievements. So
Yeah, it's so satisfying getting that ping
my
stuff.
god, dude! I don't have Instagram, but I get achievements. You know what I mean? So it's basically just as bad, right?
Yeah. Especially when you get one that has like 0.43%, and you're like, oh, I'm one of the first people to get this. It's actually been a lot like that on Lies of P. Like, there's barely anyone's got any of those really high
Or you're
achievements.
just really skilled, you know.
Yeah, I'm pretty skilled. Yeah.
Jay. So my brother told me about this news story. Basically, long story short, guys, Unity changed its pricing plan so that every time someone downloaded a game that
Wasn't it installed?
sorry,
Not
installed,
installed the game.
that Unity would charge
Which could
them.
be what's the word? Abused. You can abuse
Right.
that. There's basically a program you can run on a computer that installs and uninstalls a game over and over and over again, and you can just leave it running forever. Which basically means you can make game companies, pay arm and leg just for you doing that.
I mean, can you imagine the next bomb like
so
Lord of the Rings,
trolly,
Lord of the Rings Gollum, and then you just got people doing that every day for 2 weeks because they're so angry with the game. Do you know what I mean? So worst idea ever. told Elle at the time this is going to get retracted and retreated, and lo and behold, it's going to get retracted and retreated. I'm not entirely sure on exactly what they've done here, but they've made a statement basically saying sorry, and just
Yeah, because I saw
stupid thing.
they made one, but I didn't see anything else. So you might have to
Okay, sure.
clue
So it
me
will
in on
no longer
exactly
be
what they
charging
said.
per install runtime fees for any developer using Unity Personnel or Unity Plus. It's also dropping the blah 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 blah. Changes will now only impact developers using Unity Pro or Enterprise, so making $1 million in gross revenue in 12. So basically changing it so that I guess that so only the big boys get charged by the looks of things. I guess
So who are the big boys?
over $1 million in gross revenue by the looks of things.
Oh, right. So it won't affect indie developers,
Right.
is what you're
Or
saying.
reach 1 million
Yeah, that
installs.
that was where a lot of the anger was coming from, was indie
Right.
developers and like double A, single A game makers, essentially, because they could barely afford to make a game rather than have to pay that too. It's just this keep people being like, yeah, we want more of the slice of the pie. It's like screw you.
Terrible idea.
Like I get it, it's business and jargon, but dude, like quit speed run on how to like make people hate you as quickly as possible. You know.
Do you know who had a speed run course, Jay, making incredible Star Wars games? Stig
Okay.
Osmundson, who's leaving Respawn. He,
Yeah. So he wanted. He was the guy who was like, we're gonna make a trilogy
yeah,
of the Jedi games.
yeah. So he directed Fallen Order and Survivor, Star Wars Jedi, that is, and he's now
Yeah.
left to go somewhere else. Sad.
Funny thing is though, is it Cameron? Is that the name of the
Yeah, that
actor?
sounds right.
He was at a convention yesterday or the day before saying that yep, third one's probably going to happen in like 2027. I think is roughly when the
Is
next
he
one's
allowed to
coming out.
say that?
He sort of like he sort of like made a joke about how chances are there's going to be another one. There's going to be a trilogy. They like to make trilogies.
Okay.
He was sort of joking around, but it's kind of like unofficial. There's going to be another one.
I mean, all things come in three, right?
But funnily enough, it'll be coming out roughly the same time that or just before the next gen comes out, 2027, 2028.
Well, Jay, that might not be true
So
because next gen refresh is coming our way, according to a massive Xbox
yeah,
leak.
next
Jay, are
year,
you
isn't it?
familiar with this leak? Because I haven't checked anything out on it until.
Yeah, I've been reading up on it for the last week or
Right.
so.
Okay. I'm so desperate to listen to everything about this. Can you please give
Well, I
me?
mean, I couldn't tell you everything, but I can give you like a
Can you just give me some
basic.
hit points, please? So, okay, where did this leak come from? The core.
Uh, the FTC wanted. There was like a miscommunication between the FCC and Microsoft saying they needed like certain information and that they could redact certain. Basically, Microsoft didn't realize they could redact most of it, but then ended up not redacting it, and it just got released to the public by Microsoft. So they leaked it themselves,
Okay.
and they didn't realize that they should have redacted it when because they didn't.
Fine. Okay.
So it basically outlines Microsoft's plan for like the next 4 or 5 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Like in?
It outlines from like 2020 to 2024, and then 2024 to
Oh
2028.
my god.
So like
Was
eight
it
years,
interesting?
an entire generation essentially of like things they may or may not do. A lot of it was sort of like hidden behind Project something name or whatever. So a lot of it we didn't know about still, but a lot of it was like information that hadn't been updated recently. So they would say it still had Starfield released in 2022 on it, stuff like that.
Wow, that's cool.
The Indiana Jones game coming out at a certain time and stuff like that, like how Bethesda was all going to be
That
involved
sounds
or
really
whatever.
interesting.
The other thing was new controllers for the Xbox, and then also a mid-gen new console release. A new console, essentially, like almost like a tube, basically the Series X. But
I'm just looking at it now. I think it looks quite good.
Yeah, me too. But it annoys me because I'm not a fan of mid-gen refreshes.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
It helps
I'm not
them.
doing that.
It helps them, but it doesn't help the consumer. It just fucks the consumer
Yeah,
over.
they should have had an all digital Series X on launch anyway. But this, no, I'm not paying for this. This you're out your
Yeah,
mind.
they should have done what PlayStation did and just not have the Series S. Although apparently the Series S is like 70% of their sales.
Yeah, apparently it's selling really well. But then you wonder, Jay, is that because everybody wants to play Starfield but doesn't want to pay for an X? You know, like could be. But then, yeah, could be,
Yeah.
could be.
It's an interesting strategy, but apparently it's paying off. And then the other bombshell was that Microsoft tried to buy Nintendo.
Right.
Yeah, and Nintendo basically replied with laughing emoji, essentially, like, ha, yeah, okay, fucking whatever.
What? But this wasn't the
Basically, laughed them out of the conference room, like, nah, okay,
really.
whatever. Yeah, Microsoft, Nintendo, basically, like, big guy them, like, yeah, we're not gonna do that.
But I'm not sure Nintendo are bigger than
But
Activision, if
apparently,
I'm honest with you.
well, it's funny because there was also like a revenue thing that came out with the leak, and one of them was that PlayStation makes the most money, then Xbox, then Nintendo. So that was why Xbox had the potential to buy Nintendo
Yeah,
out
but
at
there's
some
no
point
way
because
the
they made
if you
more
thought
money.
Activision was bad, there's no way that the market authorities would have let them buy Nintendo.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. I think it was like almost like a joke, but not at the same time.
were any numbers floated around in
Kind of
terms of like
insane.
how much they were going to offer?
It would have been similar numbers to Activision, I imagine.
Um, that's so weird. That's so weird.
I think Microsoft had more money than you think.
Sure.
They probably
It
got
just
similar money to like
Yeah, it
Apple.
just depends though on like how much money you can invest in Xbox before Xbox starts making a return. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Last thing, Jay, I need to check out more stuff on that leak, so maybe we'll talk about that next time. But it looks as though the last official blocker for Activision Blizzard acquisition, as in the UK regulator, has
yeah. I
gone all
saw
good to
that.
go.
Yeah.
So
They've basically said that chances are it's going to happen now. Like it's probably like way above. You know, it should happen at this point. They basically CMA basically said, yeah, Microsoft have done what we asked them to, so it's probably going to say yes this time. Is essentially what it is.
fine, okay,
Because they basically lent out their cloud stuff to Ubisoft, I think,
okay,
saying that Ubisoft
right,
will now handle it,
right.
and because it's now with a different company, it has to go through them before it gets to Xbox. That's reasonable. It's basically like almost like a policing style way of doing it.
Okay.
It's like who watches the Watchmen type thing.
So, I don't know. I'm not really excited about the acquisition anymore because I feel like everything's so slow these days, Jay. Like,
Do you know what's funny? Acquisitions I've found have done. Like, can you think of a good example of an acquisition? Like a positive example?
a positive example.
'Cause I can give you the biggest negative one.
A a positive example would probably be. It's really difficult for me to say, Jay, because I don't know what the alternative would have been. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
For instance, you could argue that Pentiment was a positive for an acquisition because it was an indie game that was made in Obsidian, owned by Xbox. Would Obsidian have done
Yeah.
that by themselves? I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say
Then
so.
in that case, what's a positive? I haven't got a clue. Oh wait, no, I do. No, I do. No, I
Yeah.
do. I do. I do. I do.
Go on then.
I would argue Guerrilla Studios making Horizon Zero Dawn under PlayStation's wing is what I would say.
Yeah. Same with Insomniac,
Yep.
right? With
Yep.
Spider Man.
Yep. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say that I can't really think of many, but now that you said a couple, then yeah, I just think acquisitions like this, especially big ones, don't always have the greatest of outcomes. If anything, it's just more cooks in the kitchen,
Exactly.
right?
Well, Jay, even if you look at
Um,
Xbox, I couldn't think of any examples. Right, 343. I know it's not an acquisition, but no. The new
and
Initiative Studio, no. Coalition,
I
sure,
felt
but like again, a studio.
unfortunately politics can play a lot into this kind of stuff too, with like how people want to run their company and how they want the messages they want people having. So depending on how all that, and I mean, Blizzard haven't exactly got the best of reputation. So I think it's more about cleaning up the reputation of Blizzard than it is anything else. They've got to sort of like just start from the ground up in terms of like cleaning that place out of all the horridness that was there
I
before.
think you put in a 5 year plan. At the end of the 5 years, we get Activision Blizzard how we always wanted it. You
Yeah,
know.
they kind of need like as soon as it happens, they kind of need like right at Microsoft we plea to make Blizzard
Yeah,
better or
exactly.
whatever
Yeah.
in this kind of way.
Just it's just
But the thing is, he's probably not going to have them. So what actually happens with when Microsoft has Activision Blizzard? What does Bobby do now?
I don't know. I think he signed on for another.
Is he the one who currently owns it?
I don't know. I don't.
I know he's like the CEO, but does he actually like
I think
own
no. I think they're
Activision Blizzard?
PLC, aren't they? Publicly traded company.
I guess so.
shareholders and the lot.
So does Bobby just like, is he gone or is he sticking
I don't know.
around?
He might have signed like a 2-year retention in his contract, so I don't know. Or he
Yeah,
might have signed
probably.
an exit bonus for when it goes over. I don't know.
I mean, he already gets too big of a bonus as it is.
It's creepy stuff going on over there. Creepy stuff.
Yes, very creepy. Exactly. I don't like the sort of like hidden agendas and all the, you know, behind the scenes stuff. I don't know, dodgy business stuff. I'm not a fan of
Really
all that.
creepy, mate.
Whether it's really happening, it's hard to say. It's just I don't know. I'm staying both optimistic and careful when it comes to this acquisition because things can doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be for the better just because there's more money thrown at
Mm,
it.
mm.
It's probably going to take a while to hit as well. Like we're not going to see much of a change right away. It's going to take at least a couple of years for us to actually see the effects of what goes on.
Jay, let's move on to the end of the
Probably,
show. We have a
please.
Guess Who's review. We have 3 quotes.
Mm.
I've got to guess the game from the quotes. Jay picked a random game and a random game review. We play it a lot. Jay, what scores on the door?
Me 38, you 36.
How am I doing this badly?
We're
I'm
basically the
pretty
same. I have a
good.
feeling you'll get this by the second one. I should
I
say.
won it on the third one. Oh, on the first one even.
I mean, you might get it on the first. I doubt you
All right,
will.
ready when you are.
You sure?
Well, I'm a bit tired, but I'll give it a go.
All right. These ones are quite long, or at least the first one
Yeah.
is. You ready? The platforming phases are more compelling, but still poorly designed. Spacious rooms with handles to climb, walls to run, and leaps to take bring hang on, and leaps to take this is weird, to take bring a faster pace of action. But the loose and floaty way blank moves and imprecise controls make it feel like something from the PlayStation 2 era.
That's a lot of things, bro. We're
That is a lot of
talking
things.
Jack and Daxter. We're talking Tomb Raider. We're talking
Yes, I think the end bit just is like make something
a
feel
PS2
like
game,
from the
which makes
PS2
me
game.
think
So a
it's
recent game that's come
PS3 or
out,
PS4 or PS5.
yeah, a game that's come out after PS2 that feels like
Right.
PS2.
Platforming, floatiness.
Yeah, I don't think you've played this game.
Great.
Just a
Great.
heads up.
Platforming, floatiness.
It's supposed to be hard on the first one.
What do you mean the first one? Oh,
That's
sorry.
a
Yeah,
quote.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
supposed to
yeah.
be hard, isn't it?
Yeah, this is
You'll get it by the second
really
or
hard.
third. Easy.
Can you repeat the quote, please?
Just really think about it. Yeah. The platforming phases are more compelling, but still poorly designed. Poorly designed. Bad game. Spacious rooms with handles to climb, walls to run, and leaps to take a fast pace of action. But the loose and floaty way, blank moves and imprecise controls make it feel like something from the PlayStation 2
I've
era.
got a
So a
guess.
more recent
I've
game that feels like a really shitty
I've got a
PS2 game.
guess. I think it's wrong, but I've got a guess.
Go on then.
Brink.
No, that is wrong.
Okay.
I don't remember that one being that platformy, but that's a interesting game to think of. Okay, are you ready for the
Yeah.
next one? All right, give me a sec. I have to really think about how I'm going to say this. I'm not sure how much I can and can't say. Okay. It's his clammy bare feet that we step into, ostensibly with the goal of regaining possession of blank. I guess I might say the end bit. I might not. I'll see how I feel.
Is that it?
I
That's
think
all
the
I'm
bare
getting.
feet, stepping into bare feet should give you it really. It's his clammy bare feet that we step into, ostensibly with the goal of regaining possession of blank from
Oh,
blank.
for God's sake, Jay.
Yeah, I'm kind of
Oh
surprised
my
because
God. I didn't think we'd go that recent. Are you fucking serious? Lord of the Rings Gollum.
yeah, it kind of blew my mind when you said it earlier. I was, oh God,
Ah,
what are the chances of you saying it?
bro, that's
It's kind of insane.
crazy.
So yeah, the last one was playing as Gollum sounded like it might have a decent pitch for a game, since he's one of the more interesting and famous characters from J.R.R. Tolkien's fantasy
Ah, very
universe.
good. Good quotes. Good quotes. I
Yes.
think fair, Jay, because I got it on the second, so not really easy. So,
Yeah, we're now
but
tied.
you're now to get in the lead.
38, 38. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. I have a quote to end with, Jay. Before I
Okay.
say that quote, watch The Incredibles the other day. Fantastic. Just fantastic.
What, the
Yeah.
first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's kind of insane. I watched. So I'm guessing you've seen the second
Yeah.
one. Not as good, but still pretty
I
fantastic.
agree completely. What I would say, Jay, is that the bit with Mr. Incredible and the kids at home is pure, like, really great.
You know what's funny? Incredibles 2 felt more like those sort of mini skits that they do. Just a bunch of them put together.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it felt like individual stories just shoved into one
Yeah, I
amalgamation.
know what you mean. I guess that's what. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I actually think Incredibles 1 might be like the top three things they've ever done.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
So Incredibles 1,
Finding Nemo.
like Cars
Oh, Cars
1,
1 could fuck
and
off.
probably Finding
Cars
Nemo.
1.
Yeah.
Cars 1's a
Dude,
poor man's
Life is a
2 Toy
Highway.
Story 2. Are you kidding me? Over Monsters Inc. Give me a fucking
Dude,
break.
the speed races
Oh
coming up
my
behind and like the
god.
music and everything. Dude, it's
Dude, everyone knows
genius.
Cars 1 when it started dropping off, bro.
No, Cars 1 was like
Do you know what when it
peak.
did start dropping off Wall-E? Let me tell you why, people. The concept is not as good
No,
as the
Wally was
film. I'm
great.
sorry, it just isn't that good. Alright? It's a fine
I actually
film.
think it's the first 10 minutes of Up is brilliant, but then
Oh,
on,
not
not so
good.
great.
Not good. Not good. Jay, let me leave you with
Yeah.
this from Ratatouille.
Oh, God.
The bitter truth we critics must face is that, in the grand scheme of things, the average piece of junk is more meaningful than our criticism designating it so.
Very, very well
Thank you.
said.
Thank you. Very good. Very good. I know I feel
Yeah,
like
very
I
good,
might
very
have
good.
rushed you a little, Jay, but I think we covered a lot of ground there.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
I know you've been wanting to talk a lot more, and I'm sure we will talk a lot more sooner than you think, especially with the new releases. But just stop saying things which means I have to cut it out, and we'll be fine. No, but
I say I'm starting to like slip back into the not wanting to play games at the minute and just watch TV shows. So
you do you, man.
I also want to read manga. I want to,
Well, look, I
do
want to do a
fun
lot of
stuff.
things, Jay. All right, just stop being so greedy.
There's literally just too much to choose from. That's the problem.
I think you need a bit more boredom in your life.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Maybe just sit there and just contemplate existence for a bit.
no, I'll want to kill myself if I do that.
Okay.
That's the reason why I play games, is to not have sit in my own
But do
thoughts.
you reckon that if you sat in them long enough, you would break through like a wall?
Yeah, I've done that. I did that
Oh,
already.
okay. All right. Fair enough.
It's the reason why I'm able to cope now.
Fair enough. All right.
Yeah, I've done a lot of self reflection.
Very good. Well, we'll see you all next time on Nats. No, we'll see you all next time. Have a
In like
wonderful
3 to 4 weeks,
week.
probably.
Sooner than you think. Sooner than you think. Have a good time all. Enjoy Starfield if you're playing it. I know I will be. And we won't be talking about it for some time, unless Jay would like to. Bye bye. Oh, do you know what I
Bye-bye.
want to do, Jay? I want to do that and see if people can guess who's actually saying it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. I feel like it's obvious.
It's too obvious. It's too obvious. Okay.
Yeah,
Bye,
it
guys.
is very too obvious.